A long, long time ago, at the creation of Japan, I will ensure 1,000 men will die every day, shouted the goddess Izanami out from Yomi, the land of the dead. Then I will ensure 1,500 men will be born every day, shouted Izanagi back to her. Thus began an eternal battle of inches with no discernible end. Then Izanagi went back to tell Izanami she should subscribe to youtube.com/Briglass since she has all this free time on her hands now. It all started who knows when and who knows where. For no reason in particular, time and space became strange during 2020 and 2021. A fortunate portion of us humankind had stumbled into a considerable amount of free time, alongside a weirdly placed societal pressure to take advantage of these global crisis-induced desolate schedules. And my choice? I spent a lot of time on the internet, watching YouTube videos, talking to myself about making a game or other projects, and not doing anything important to anyone, as I drifted to the end of the year like a pile of sleep-deprived ash. And I found something at least a little interesting. A strange tradition amongst the JRPG community, max level first dungeon. Unofficial title. I thought maybe we've all had grinding in a JRPG once or twice. What if I just stayed here at the start, until I could steamroll through the entire game? Most of these thoughts are quickly dismissed by the inherent desire to actually enjoy the video games we buy. And if the thoughts do go any further, they're likely just folks doing calculations on how long it would actually take in their favorite games. Certainly not people actually doing it with their real hands. Except, of course, for the fact that a number of people already have. In games like Persona 5, Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts, and so on. Some succeed, showered in moderate praise and Kotaku articles, while others resign in quietness or shame. And to me, that seemed perfect. A war of attrition with an unmoving target. It was a task so demanding yet mundane and skillless that especially someone as vacant as I was, could succeed. So at the end of 2021, ignore the fact another year passed, I launched my efforts like an arrow from a bow, never to return. Our first stop, difficulty selection. The difficulties of Persona 4 Golden affect very little about the game. Damage taken and dealt, money earned, and experience earned. Pretty important for us though, right? Challenges like these can be around and above 100 hours of playtime. That's like, 2 times my lifetime's worth of 100% orange juice? Sure, that should illustrate it for you. I was dialed in for what I thought would be potentially a year or more of my life. Close. With that in mind, I figured taking the most efficient path forward would be a good rule of thumb. Thus, very easy, with its bonuses to experience earned and increase to our damage output was our go-to. For now. With all the pride of a grown man after picking the very easy difficulty, I strolled into the decadent halls of Yukiko's castle. This place would be my home for the coming months, and as such, I needed to prepare my space. Doing this very important mechanic of the game that I will not explain here, called fusing personas on a skill change day, I sought after some interesting abilities, mainly Victory Cry, which will be useless later on, and also some various repel skills, which will be useless later on. After that's sorted out, we make our way to the 7th floor, right before the throne room, at absolutely a high enough level to beat the boss, before we turn around and start going up and down stairs, and up and down hallways, and up and down levels, mostly up in that case. Things progress about at the speed you'd expect for the first 60 or so levels. Just a guy with some free time wandering up and down the randomized yet truly unchanging hallways of a 2008 video game. Occasionally some onlookers come into the chat room to tell me what a cool guy I am for doing this. Eventually, though, I started getting ideas about a certain endgame optional boss fight that you can actually fight in any dungeon whenever you want. The Reaper. I made a more detailed video on that experience, but it put me under the impression that getting those repel skills all onto a cool persona would help. But really we could just skip all of that, because it turns out you can never die in very easy. So like I said, Victory Cry, repel skills, all useless. That being said, the Reaper does drop 5,000 experience, or a base of 15,000, which all goes to me if Yosuke and Chie were to have an accident. So with a clean 15,000 experience every now and again, launching us towards the finish line at incredible speeds, it was smooth sailing, and I ended up getting to level 99 from start to finish, all within just 1 week. Just 1 week? Yeah. It was only 33 hours after all. I severely overestimated how difficult it would be to get to level 99 with very easy mode on. For some reason I was under the impression that EXP earned would scale down as I level up until I was eventually just receiving 1 experience point from enemies. This doesn't happen at all, just like how I didn't need to grind for Victory Cry. Really, this is just not a well-researched video. In the end though, this accomplishment hardly felt like one at all, and more like a wasted effort than the noteworthy spectacle I thought of this challenge as. This challenge. That is the whole max level first dungeon thing. I went back to look into its history as best I could. It's a bit hard to put any pieces together as someone who wasn't really there for any of this. That, and I'm sure a lot of details are left lodged under the deep dark stones of video game discussion forums that could be any combination of locked, discarded, or otherwise neglected by Google search terms. The earliest example I could seem to find was the level 100 on Destiny Islands challenge in Kingdom Hearts, often discussed on GameFAQs. I couldn't find many examples of completed, documented challenges, but I did find some talk about a user named Walk Through Walls who completed the challenge and uploaded the ending some 16 years ago, on June 3rd, 2006. And just 5 years ago, streamer Erroneous Gaming, now aptly titled Grind God, did the challenge again in 2018. Not only are there these standout examples from both distant and near pasts, but there's plenty of people starting this challenge across all kinds of times, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever. Even if not many are bringing these honorable outsets to their conclusions, it seems to be a challenge with this weirdly evergreen appeal to folks. Why? What could possibly keep drawing people back to a challenge as mundane as this? Determined to find out for myself, I re-entered the game back to Yukiko's castle, this time hoping to leave no room for doubt that the job is done correctly. The very hard difficulty in Persona 4 Golden is a way to play the game that I can't recommend to literally anyone. The hard difficulty just below it has what should be the same gameplay experience with the same damage received and dealt in battles. So what changes? Basically just less EXP and money earned after battles. So the only thing this difficulty does is waste more of your time for no reward in particular. Exactly what we're looking for. Bam, back into the castle, back into getting Victory Cry I want. It's still pretty useless actually, I could probably just use the items. Back into planning for the Reaper. Oh, I got a job. It was retail, so I quit the job, got another job. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers. We played Mad Libs at some point? 6 months pass, fact check this, I don't know if it's true. Boom, level 80 Reaper, beaten with a 5-iron. And as it turns out, that was also pretty useless. I failed to recognize that the EXP penalty would also affect the Reaper's EXP reward, obviously. With how long and how uncertain the fight is, it wasn't really worth it to grind beyond getting the weapons that sped up our fights. The Reaper ended up not being worth much more EXP than the random encounter of 3 wealth hands we could get every now and again. Wealth hands being somewhat rare enemies that are typically 200 EXP each, often spawning in groups of 3. If only there was a way to farm those guys instead. But we were already so late into the challenge, and so discovering and resorting to some sort of cheese like that would just put a damper on the finale, right? So like all things that are under the heavens, we ground. And we kept grinding like normal, and kept grinding. All culminating in our final stop. The final floor of the first dungeon of Persona 4 Golden at the highest level achievable. And with this, I'm finally level 99 in Yukiko's castle. That's Persona 4 Golden. That's level 99 in Persona 4 Golden. Good job on Sacred Mission. And thus ended an eternal battle of inches. After 186 hours in very hard mode, plus the 33 hours spent on the first run in very easy, I had been in Yukiko's castle for a minimum of 219 hours across around 10 months. Not counting however long I spent fusing personas, which involved resetting saves. That information is not reflected here and is in fact lost to time immemorial. Could anyone do this? Yeah. Would anyone do this? Why? It's easy to look at a challenge like this and criticize those doing it for being unproductive. Ironically, that's what drew me to the challenge. The chance to be productive during a time where I felt like I couldn't manage to do anything at all. So what is it? Was it worth it or not? Admittedly, it's a little difficult to glean any meaning from the act of walking up and down a virtual palace for a year of your life, but I wouldn't say I regret this at all. We can often feel pressured to make the most out of our time, to contribute, to be productive, and efficiency can go as the unquestioned king of our reasons for being born. But every now and again it's good to recenter yourself. Remember that the meaning in everything we do is always changing and mysterious, but definitely there. And at the end of the day, the world continues to turn, even while we're off resting or doing something silly. 1,000 destroyed, 1,500 created. This is the nature of life. Now, nobody ever asked me to play Persona ever again. Hi guys, post-video Brave Glass here. Sorry this video took so long. I'm aware that it's been a while. I wasn't really expecting to have people waiting, because I wasn't really expecting anybody to catch on to this challenge, this project, while I was working on it. But lo and behold, I was blessed by the algorithm at least once. Here's to open a second time. Thanks for sticking with me though, or just forgetting that you were subscribed to me. I'm not sure I really nailed the tone that I was going for, that I had in my mind for this video, but I hope it was fun and funny for you guys anyway. I'm obviously incorporating my art more. You can follow me on Twitter for more of my art, by the way, original stuff. I hope it makes a bit more sense now what this channel is like about, kinda. It's a little bit more about the challenges than it is about the games themselves, I feel. But yeah, it'd mean a lot to me if you subscribed and stuck around for all kinds of stuff if you like this style of video. And yeah, I'm back, so I hope my videos only get better from here on out. So, see you later, guys. Never give up.